everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make a video today that was about what I do when my symptoms increase from my Crohn's disease, and I feel like this would benefit a lot of people, especially if you have other autoimmune diseases. We tend to have symptoms that can increase that are similar, and so these are the things that I do during the first 7 days of my increase of symptoms, and this is what I usually do as a trial to find out if I'm really flaring or not, or if this could just be something else. So this is my first step. So I like to treat myself from the inside out, and I think the first thing that you need to look at, no matter what your autoimmune disease is what you're putting into your body. So I first look at my diet and my hydration levels. So diet meaning, have I been eating food? Now keep in mind, I have Crohn's disease, so a lot of my symptoms come from what I'm putting through my gastro tract. So the first thing I look at is, am I eating clean foods? Am I eating things that are too fried? Am I eating things that are highly acidic, spicy? Am I eating too many rough, high fibrous foods? So the first thing I do is I kind of look at the last 2 weeks, and usually when my symptoms increase, it's usually an internal factor, something that I've been putting into myself that I haven't been mindful of. So the first thing I do is I go on a low fibrous or a low fiber diet. Now you can look up what the low fiber diet is, or I can do another video if you guys are interested, but the low fiber diet is basically where you eat the lowest in fiber foods available, foods that are really soft and are easy for your body to process, so that your gastro tract can basically take a break, and it takes less energy for your body to break down those foods. So I think the rule is for it to have less than 1 gram of fiber per serving or something like that, or you can eat higher fiber foods as long as they are highly cooked and they are very easy to digest. So these are foods like lean meats like chicken or turkey. Your vegetable sources need to be really soft and easy to digest, like potatoes and squash and cantaloupe, things like that. Really soft foods that are very easy to digest. Also a lot of breads like white bread, basically pasta, very high carb foods basically. High carb foods that are easy to digest. It's not the most nutritional diet, but it's meant to be a temporary diet. And like I said, along with your diet, you also need to look at your hydration. So have I been drinking enough water? Water is really important for your internal organs. It's really important for you in general just to feel like you're satisfied, because if you're dehydrated, you actually might make poor food choices. You might actually think it's like a hunger trigger, but it's really you're dehydrated. And sometimes people binge or they eat really salty or like really fried foods because they feel really hungry, but in reality you're just not drinking enough water. So you might want to look at your hydration levels while you're trying to internally figure out what you've been putting inside of your body. This isn't just about water, this is also about what other beverages are you drinking. So are you drinking a lot of soda? Are you drinking a lot of coffee? Are you drinking a lot of alcohol? You need to cut back on those things during this time because it's causing more inflammation. If you can cut them out completely, then that's even better. What I recommend for coffee drinkers is, if you're going to drink coffee during this time, is to dilute your coffee, basically to really water it down, or change creamers and maybe use like an almond milk and really dilute it. But I mean, I'm a teacher, so I have to drink coffee. Like, I have to drink coffee. But I totally understand if you can't. But definitely cut out alcohol. Definitely cut out really sugary drinks. Anything that you can, cut it out. Just stick to water. That's going to help you. I also like to take zinc around this time, because sometimes the symptoms are a trigger of maybe an illness or maybe some kind of a virus. And I know that some people don't believe that zinc actually helps you, or they don't believe in taking supplements that have zinc in them. But honestly, I've been taking zinc for years, and I feel like it really minimizes any cold that I have. And so whenever I'm not feeling well, I assume I'm getting a cold, so I just take a little extra zinc just to make sure that the symptoms that are heightened isn't from a cold, and I can already start being proactive about it. So I do take zinc supplements when I'm starting to feel a little off. And then at that point, I start to do things externally. Side note, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. If you're having mild to moderate symptoms, that's what this video is for. But if you are having severe symptoms, you need to call your doctor. I'm not a doctor, by the way. I am not a professional in any medical I have no medical certifications. I just have a lot of experience. Just make sure that if you're having severe symptoms, please call a professional. Okay, so anyway, back to this part. So external things that I do. The first thing that I do is I think about how inflamed my body is. And usually when I am flaring, my joints are heavily affected. So I like to take a lot of baths during this time. I like to do Epsom salt baths or even baths that have the oatmeal packets in them because sometimes my skin can also be really irritated during this time. I actually break out with hives sometimes from my Crohn's disease. It's just a weird thing that happens. So sometimes I'll take a salt bath to minimize the inflammation. Sometimes I'll take an oatmeal bath because it'll help any kind of skin irritation that I have. And the hot water will help your body. If you don't have a bath, you can easily just take showers, but sometimes taking 1 to 2 baths or 1 to 2 hot showers a day can minimize that inflammation, and that will help you with your symptoms.
Hello, I forgot to mention this one thing. For people that don't have baths, another thing that you can do that's the alternative of a salt bath is to get magnesium sprays. So essentially, Epsom salt baths are just high doses of magnesium. So if you can get a magnesium rub or a spray, you can topically put it on your muscles or your joints, and that will benefit you the same way that a bath will.
To 2 baths or 1 to 2 hot showers a day can minimize that inflammation, and that will help you with your symptoms. Another thing that I do during this time, unless it's summer, is I use heated blankets or heating pads. I like to put my heating pad on really high and I put it under my covers of my bed so that when I get into bed it's really, really warm, and then I turn it off or I turn it to like a very low setting. My heating pad turns off after a couple hours, so I don't have to worry about leaving it on. But heating pads can really help you, and I would recommend that if you are flaring, to have a slightly colder environment in the air, like your thermostat should be a little bit lower, but you should be wrapping yourself with really, really warm blankets. The hot and the cold kind of keeps your temperature down as well so that you're not getting too overheated. And also, if your increased symptoms is from a cold or is from a virus, you actually want your environment to be a little bit on the cooler side because of the germs. So I like to turn my thermostat down a little bit and then I just wrap myself with heating pads or heated blankets. Another thing that I noticed a lot growing up with really bad symptoms was sometimes I woke up and it just wasn't comfortable for me to wear jeans or it wasn't comfortable for me to wear dress pants. So I would always have some kind of a pair of pants that's for days where you're just feeling really uncomfortable. I like to have a pair of jeans that are really stretchy, but they're high waisted to the point where I don't have to wear a belt, because sometimes wearing belts would be really painful for me if you're like a belt wearing person. But I would always have a pair of pants that are appropriate for your job or whatever you do, but are more comfortable for you. I'm not telling you to wear yoga pants to work because that might not be professional for you, depending on what your job is. But make sure that you have a comfortable set of clothes that are okay for your job, but you can wear on those days where you're feeling really inflamed. Like I said, whenever I'm really inflamed, sometimes my knees really hurt and my ankles really hurt, and it can be really painful for me to wear skinny jeans or to wear really tight jeans or to wear boots that are really tight. So I like to be mindful of the clothes that I'm wearing. So if you're feeling irritated in your, kind of like private regions, I like to use different kinds of ointments. A lot of the ointments that are for babies are actually really good. They have vitamin E and they're very hydrating. So I do like those. Any kind of Vaseline is fine. But I also really like to use this ointment that has kind of a cooling effect to it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is the ointment that I use every once in a while, and the reason why I don't use it a lot is because it is whitish pink. It's the color of calamine lotion. So it can stain your clothes if you're not careful, but it's really thick. It's supposed to be, is it called semi-permeable? I don't know what the term is scientifically, but nothing is going to go through this moisture-wise. It has a very permeable, is that the word? Whatever. Nothing is going to go through this ointment. So it stays put, but you need to make sure that you clean your hands off really well after, or whatever you're applying it with, because it will stain it white or whitish pink. But what's really nice about it is that this has a very small amount of menthol in it. and it doesn't burn, but it creates a nice cooling effect. So if you're feeling irritated down there, this is fantastic. I use this a lot when I notice I'm having external or like maybe even somewhat internal inflammation, and I can reach it with this. This is fantastic. You can also use Vaseline or other ointments, like I said, that have vitamin E. A&D baby ointment. It's called A&D. It's a baby ointment. That one's really good too. So on top of the oatmeal baths and doing things like topical treatments, that can also really help during this time to make me feel more comfortable and to kind of minimize any inflammation, any kind of irritation.
Oh, hey, it's me again. I forgot to mention one more thing. When I am flaring up, what I tend to do is I use a suppository, and it's a steroid-based suppository. I don't know what the brand name is. I'm sure there's many different kinds, but the one that I use has a little bit of hydrocortisone in the suppository, and I will use that for 7 days straight, and that usually helps me immensely because I've had colon rectal surgery, so I do that for 7 days.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys is just kind of assessing your energy levels. So I know that it's easier said than done to say, get more sleep, because some of us just like we have crazy lives. You might have kids, you might be working crazy hours. If you can't get more sleep, then try to sleep more consistently or be more mindful of the timing of your sleep, because sleeping in and then getting up early and then sleeping in, that could be throwing your body off. So I'm not just talking about get more sleep, I'm talking about try to get on a normal sleep pattern. Regulating your sleep patterns can really help your immune system, and it can really help your energy levels, which in turn will make you feel better, because a lot of the times when our symptoms are heightened, we're very fatigued. So if you can't get more sleep or rest more, then be more mindful of it and try to get yourself on track. Another thing that I recommend during this time is to not, unless you're in a lot of pain, to not just lay in bed. You need to be moving during this time. If you're inflamed, the best thing that you can do is to move, do very small exercises like yoga or even going for walks. I can tell you a lot, when I was a kid and I was severely flaring with my Crohn's disease, I always wanted to go for a walk. And my parents never understood. They're like, Jill, you should be in bed. You should be laying down. I always was like, I just feel like I'd feel so much better if I just went for a short walk, or if I just, you know, moved around a little bit. So keeping yourself moving during this time will help you. And not only will it help you physically, but it'll help you mentally, and it'll help keep your mind off of your symptoms. So don't cut back during this time on moving around. I'm not telling you to go to the gym and do a huge workout, because that's not good, because you want to take it easy, but you also don't want to be sedentary, because that can make your symptoms maybe even worse. So, from my own experience, try to move in some kind of way. It's okay if you're not a yoga person, but try to get moving, even if it's just doing little things around the house or just getting yourself out and going to the store or something like that. It will help you feel better. I wanted to give you guys some tips that really have helped me stay on track. Now, I haven't had a big flare up in years. I've been on Humira for about 5 years now, and that has completely saved me. I've had colon rectal surgery when I was 11, and I've been on 27 pills a day, so I'm very lucky that the Humira works for me. Now, I wouldn't say I'm in remission, because I've had such a severe case of Crohn's my whole life. I don't know if I ever will be in remission, but I will say that I am in very good control right now of my Crohn's disease. So I do want to share some tips with you guys on how to keep yourself as consistent as possible. The first thing that I do is I set timers for everything. I set a 2-week timer for my Humira pen, or actually I don't use a pen anymore, I use a syringe, so that I am constantly on track with my medications. I also put my medications and my skincare right next to each other on my shelf so that I never miss a pill. And I'm actually only on one pill right now. I take Lamodal. Lamodal is a prescription strength version of a anti-diarrheal, and I really don't take it for diarrhea. I actually just take it because what's in the drug is it's almost, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a chemist, but it's the kind of drug that calms your gastro tract, which in higher quantities can help people with diarrhea. But for me, I've had stomach surgery, and because of the surgery, it's really hard for me to sleep at night. My stomach is always gurgling, and I feel like it's always on like a machine. So for some reason, taking a very small dose of Lomotil, it just calms me and it helps me sleep. So I take it for that reason, but when I'm flaring or my symptoms are increasing, I actually will take more. I can take up to 4 pills a day. So you can do that. You can take, oh, what's the version of it? It's called Imodium. It's not as high in milligrams as Lomotil, but you can take Imodium. I would keep a little bit of that on you at all times just in case you might need it, and I think you can take a couple of them a day. Pepto-Bismol is also good to keep around. I like to keep that, but I mainly take Pepto-Bismol for acid reflux. I really don't take it for any kind of bowel upset. I really just take it for whenever I'm having like a lot of inflammation in my esophagus. But I like to be organized in my life so that I am on track with my medications and I'm being careful to make sure that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis. So I set myself timers. When I was a kid, I used to have Post-it notes, and I would stick Post-it notes by the door to make sure that I was taking my pills. So any kind of reminders that you can set yourself, make sure you do that so that you can keep on a schedule. During this time, I do take Tylenol. I would not recommend you taking naproxen or aspirin, and I think there's another one. Those actually irritate your bowels, so I think that's Aleve and Advil, like the brand names. Those can irritate your bowels, and I know that they may work and make your joints feel better, but down the road it's going to cause another problem, so be careful of the painkillers that you're using. Another thing that people don't think about is if you're taking an antibiotic right now, let's say you're taking a short-term antibiotic, that can actually cause the bacteria in your body to shift, and it can cause your body to actually have an imbalance. So if you've been on a ciprofloxacin, or if you've been on, I don't know, some kind of an antibiotic in the past couple weeks, that could have caused an imbalance, and that could be why you're having an increase of symptoms. So it just might need a little bit of time to balance itself out. Some people don't even realize that taking something like that can cause irritation. I'm trying to do things in these like little 20-minute spans throughout the day so that I can save myself more time to get more sleep. That's a goal of mine in 2020, is to sleep more or to improve my sleep. And I feel like sometimes I just have so much going on that I put sleep to the side and I don't make it a priority. So I really want that to be my priority this year. So the other tip that I can give you is try to do things that save you time. So whether that's food prepping, 1 day a week where you have a ton of food ready for the week and you can freeze half of it, or getting your lunch and everything ready right before bed so that like you can just grab and go in the morning and your mornings can go by faster and you can be more productive. But if you're more productive, you should have more time for sleep. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here because this is something that, like I said, I need to work on. But try to find things that can save you time so that you really can focus on sleep, because the more I read about sleep, like the more that I'm realizing I really don't get enough of it. And that could be a huge reason why growing up I was so sick. I did not sleep well as a kid, and I had a lot of reasons why I didn't sleep well. I had a lot of trauma as a child, so it wasn't necessarily the Crohn's that was keeping me up. Actually, it was 50% Crohn's keeping me up, 50% nightmares. But I feel like a lot of the times I'm fatigued, and because I'm fatigued, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, am I flaring up again? What's happening? And in reality, I'm just not making sleep a priority. So another tip, I know I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. Try to do things so that you can sleep more. I really hope that this video makes sense for you guys. I wanted it to kind of flow where I talked about things internally to externally and some tips. So I hope that it flowed enough for you that you at least got something out of it. And I bet there's a ton of you out there that do these things already, but maybe you just haven't been mindful enough with them lately. So maybe that'll kind of kickstart you in 2020 back into a good routine so that you can have a really, really great year and you can be in more control of your symptoms. Because let's be honest, sometimes we can do everything that our doctors tell us to. Our diets can be great and we're doing everything that we think we're doing, and sometimes our symptoms just, they just come up. So sometimes we don't have any control, but there are a lot of things that you can do to have some kind of control. So I hope that you learned something from this. If there's something that you do that I didn't mention, please leave it in the comment section down below so that we can read what you say and maybe we can learn something from you. But like I said, these are temporary things that I do, and if I don't improve in this 7-day period doing all of these things, then I need to start thinking to myself, okay, do I need to call my gastro doctor, or do I need to call my primary care? Then I start thinking about my next step. But usually, because of the stage that I'm in with my Crohn's disease, I usually start to see a little bit of a decrease in symptoms by the end of the week, and then I'll repeat this again for another week, and then usually I can get myself back on track. I am doing very well with my Crohn's disease right now, and I understand that your struggle might be very different from mine, but maybe some of these things will help you. So I hope that you're well, and I hope that you stay strong, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.